Welcome to another exciting episode of the podcast, The Accidental Farmer. Today, I am honored and privileged to have a member of the youth. She tells me she's a millennial and not a Gen Z, but she's still considered youth, who is in agriculture. Her name is Pauline Njeri, and she's also known as the holistic orchardist. I know it's a mouthful. She's going to explain to us what a holistic orchardist is. And she's a trained agronomist who has been practicing for more than 6 years. And at this point, I will read her bio. Pauline Njeri is a young, dynamic agronomist making waves in the agricultural sector. As a woman in agriculture, she's breaking barriers and proving that youth have a vital role to play in transforming the industry. With 6 years of experience in fruit farming, she has worked closely with farmers to improve yields and quality in crops, such as avocados, apples, strawberries, and pixie oranges. Her expertise in crop nutrition, field crop production, soil sampling, and nutrient analysis has made her a trusted advisor in the field. Having worked with Frutunda, Pauline brings both technical knowledge and a fresh, youthful perspective to modern farming. A strong believer in research-driven solutions and sustainable agriculture, Pauline continues to explore innovative ways to improve productivity. She holds a degree in agronomy from Egerton University and is passionate about inspiring more young people, especially women, to see agriculture as a viable and rewarding career. So in this episode, we're going to talk to Pauline and to hear her journey as a young woman making an impact in agriculture. Welcome to the program, Pauline. How are you doing?
I am well. Well, thank you for that energetic intro. I'm really excited to be here.
Do you recognize that person?
Yes,
That
and
is
that's
you, eh?
Pauline. Yeah, I can feel it. I'm really grateful.
No, it's a pleasure to have you.
Mhm.
Tell me, how did you get into agriculture?
I'd say I was born to it because I grew up in a farm. And having come from a farmer family, I saw my parents embark on farming, especially coffee farming. We used to grow vegetables alongside coffee, and I developed passion to farming from that. And then I studied that at university.
How did your parents feel about you going to study agronomy?
They were they were really happy about it because they could see the passion in me because I used to grow vegetables, and in between rows of coffee we have also fruit trees.
Yeah.
And they were really excited for me to go to the university and get more knowledge so that we can get more quality fruits and improve productivity.
How young were you when you started working on the farm in the village?
I'd say, as far as I can remember, it's when I was 6 years, working alongside my parents, barefooted in the farm. It was really fulfilling thing to do.
And were your parents trained in agriculture, or did they learn through the knowledge that was handed down to them? And how did they learn how to farm?
My grandfather was an extension officer, so he passed on all the knowledge to my parents, and I grew up learning from him, and as well as my nuclear family.
And how was your education pathway to studying agronomy? Did you pick up the studies in high school and then continue, or?
Well, at high school, I developed interest in agriculture because when we started going deeper into agriculture, I could see it's something that I want to do further when I go to the university. And when I go back to the village, I could impact that knowledge to my parents as well as the villagers back home. So I wanted to go to get good grades, to go to the university and get that get more in-depth knowledge in agriculture.
Okay. So what is agronomy? I hear the term agronomist. What is agronomy as a study?
Agronomy is a study, it's science in agriculture that's now, it's more of crop science, where one is trained to know more about plants, especially crop science, now at soil level, to know the let's say physiology, plant physiology level, to now where you can get value from that particular crop.
Okay, so it's the whole thing about crop science and crop health.
Yes.
Okay. Now, it's interesting that you studied agriculture and now you practice in the field of agriculture.
Yes.
Yet agriculture is perceived as, by young people, it's perceived as an old people or old person's job or occupation.
Yes.
How have you managed to navigate this whole perception and actually go into it?
Well, it's been a challenge at times, but then having that passion about being at the farm and impacting knowledge to the farmers, I've seen it being a fulfilling job in spite of the challenges that I normally experience here and there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what are some of the challenges you face both as a young person and a woman in agriculture?
Well, as a young person, especially now as a woman, when you go to impact knowledge to farmers, you will find that older farmers are not, they're not ready to get the knowledge from you.
They're not receptive.
They're not receptive, right? Some will, you'd see that they need to learn from you, but still there's that barrier. And then you have to convince them that you have more, you have to go to their levels of the understanding and then now impact the knowledge that you have. And at the end of the day, they come to appreciate. And in terms of appreciating, I normally go home with farm produce and gifts from them.
But isn't it a fact that a lot of the farming and agriculture is done by women?
Yes, it's done by women, but then at a professional level, you find that not so many young women are embracing farming because there are challenges, as we mentioned. And also, when it comes to employment, you find that especially now the youths, they don't want to get their hands on dirty in farming. They want they want now the office job. And you find that not so many companies nowadays are employing people.
Generally, and also in farming,
Yeah.
So like the extension officers, I don't know if they're still there, but the extension officers, were they predominantly male in the old days, or?
I believe they were predominantly men because in my field, only a few ladies are doing extension work because it's tiresome. It's you sort of spend more hours in field, let's just say even at night. And if you're a family-oriented person, that can be also a challenge. So
there are also safety issues,
Yes, there's also safety issues.
Sometimes as men, we take a lot of things for granted, but I mean, the safety works both ways. I mean, even for males, but I guess it's also a challenge, especially as a young woman.
Yes, it is a challenge, especially now when it comes to safety issues. If you don't have if you don't have a support system at home, you can easily give up because, for interacting with farmers, it needs grace and patience, and that can be offered at home. And then, of course, farming, you have to manage the expectations. Farmers have very high expectations. And sometimes they're not realistic. It is true. You have to. Farming is a fulfilling thing, provided that you take it as it is.
Okay. So let's talk a bit about your profession. So you've worked in a number of you've worked with a number of farmers. Which farming? And you're just a specialist. You call yourself or you are known as the holistic orchardist, right? Orchardist, I presume, is because your specialty is in fruits.
Yes.
So which are the fruits that you find lucrative for farmers to grow?
I'd say the high value fruits.
Yes.
In Kenya being among the top 10 exporters of fruits such as avocado. So I'll list avocado as one of the the economic valuable fruits that farmers can work on, and also apples. I realized that based on now field experience, when done well, you can get quality has avocados and apples. So those two.
But I hear a lot of farmers say that, a lot of us have jumped on this avocado bandwagon to grow avocados. Yet when it comes to selling, the price of the avocado, the fruit, we find it's quite low.
It is true.
Yeah. So how do you go about that? What is a solution you suggest to farmers?
For you to get the value of your money, you have to sit down or work with the stakeholders. That is, as a farmer, you work with the extensionist or agronomist, the team on the ground that are managing your orchard. You have to give them at least a brief review of what your target is or what you're targeting from their orchard, so that they can understand their goal. From there, you also be a wise farmer and search for markets, link with the exporters, and once you work with holistic agronomists as you'll be able to get quality fruits.
So what is a holistic agronomist?
A holistic agronomist is someone who nurtures soil by honoring life processes beneath the fruit trees. So I realized that for you to get the value of your money from farming, you have to take care of the micro or the living organism in the soil, and it should be done right. So in that regards, you have to feed the soil with the right food that are not harmful, or let's just say chemical-free, that are not going to harm the microorganism. From that level, when they have balance, when it's balanced, when you now come to putting now the agronomical practices, let's just say good nutrition, you feed them, and also now the practices that are needed to man now the trees, you'll be able to get quite value of your money.
So what are some of the harmful chemicals you see many farmers putting in their soil?
I say some farmers, when they go to the agrovets, and then when they have not worked with an agronomist or people who know what they're doing, you find that they go to the agrovet and request for the products, and unfortunately they are given the products with that are, let's say, they have active ingredients that are not suitable for a particular let's just say to control a particular pest or disease. So they end up, let's just say, hurting or getting more disease prevalence in the farm.
So give me an example, say, with avocados.
I'll not mention the products because...
No, don't. I don't want you to mention the products, but what do some of these products contain that could be harmful?
Some, I'll say the banned products, let's just say glyphosate for to control weeds, and other products that are, for pests and diseases too.
Okay. So for those people who want to know which products not to put on their crops, they should reach out to you, right?
Yes, they should reach out so that they
then you can tell them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And unfortunately, it's unfortunate that most of those products are still readily available in the market. Are they not?
Yes.
Even some of the products that may have been banned in other jurisdictions, other countries, are quite available here.
It's quite saddening to know that these products are available in the market, and you see they're fast, they're active. Let's just say for pest control, you might find that a banned product is more effective to eliminating the pest very fast, but then the residual effect is has negative impact, which the farmer doesn't consider. That's why it's really saddening to know that still farmers don't consider that when they are going to buy the products. But then if they work with passionate agronomists.
Yeah.
They'll be able to get their value of your money. And if they're looking forward to holistic health living, it's way to go about it.
There's a criticism that we're hearing more and more that agronomists have turned into salespersons. So for example, if I get the services of an agronomist and tell them to come to my farm, normally they have all these inputs that they've already, they're going to sell to me.
Yes.
And sometimes you wonder, is it really the agronomist or is it's like medical reps, people who come and tell, go to doctors and sell certain medications. Then we find that the same doctors prescribe the medications,
Yeah.
I think you get my point.
I do.
Yeah. Is that true? Is that true, or is that partly true, or is it not true at all that agronomists sometimes are acting on behalf of some of these companies that you're talking about, which sell chemicals that may be hazardous or harmful?
Well, I'll say it's partly true.
Okay.
And it's quite saddening that not so many people are passionate about what they're doing. And I've incorporated holistic living into my line of work so that, you see, I wouldn't want to advise a farmer in going towards a direction that at personal level, I wouldn't want to go.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, that's good. So you've got your values and you stick to them.
Yes.
What, tell me, you've been to many farms. Tell us some of the success stories. Maybe one or two farms you've remembered and you've seen somebody growing fruits or vegetables very well. And what are the things they do?
Okay. For the successful farmers that I've worked with, I understand that you have to have the right resources and also to have the right mindset. So you're open to learning along the journey, because for farming, it has a lot of uncertainties. For the successful farmers that I have, I've noted that they're eager to learn from you. They're eager to exchange information and also to offer feedbacks. So that has contributed to their success. There's a 30-acre farm along Thika. It is a success.
What do they grow?
They grow house avocados.
How many avocado trees do they have?
It's a 30-acre farm.
So an acre has how many avocado trees?
An acre has 150.
So there are how many trees in there?
So 150 by 30.
4,500.
Yes. And the team on the ground, as we mentioned earlier, you have to ensure that everyone, the stakeholders in your farming project, understand your goal. So, that goes towards now the management team. They should understand what their role is, and if they should be open to, you should be open to learning from them or having effective communication with them, so that once they get the training from the expertise, they're able to implement that. And you, as the overall manager or a farmer, you're also able to get the resources on time and also give feedback where maybe you're facing challenges, so that you can easily implement them on time.
So I call myself the accidental farmer.
Yes.
I got into farming by accident, and I always joke that I've had so many accidents in farming since. But I call myself the accidental farmer, and other people say that another way of looking at an accidental farmer is the telephone farmer. That means I don't farm where I live. I call on the phone and ask which crop, when is the harvest. I'm a distance farmer. Is it possible, Pauline, from your perspective, to be successful as a telephone farmer?
Well, you can be a successful telephone farmer, but then that depends with the team that you have. It also, you see, you can be an effective telephone farmer when you have the right people working with you or working with you. Yeah, right.
So who should be in a telephone farmer's team? Who are the must-haves? Who are the people I must have in my team?
The must-have team, you have to get the right people. Let's just say the farm workers, in the right person. An agronomist.
Exactly. I thought you'd start with that.
But then people on the ground are the ones that are doing the nitty-gritty, the weeding and all that. They should be able to nurture that plant as they should do it with love. When they're doing things in love, it usually thrives. So the team on the ground, agronomist, and also you as a telephone farmer should have an effective communication.
Yeah. How much knowledge should a telephone farmer have? Say I'm a tomato farmer. How much knowledge should I have about the tomato?
I'd say, even though you're a telephone farmer, you should at least have an in-depth knowledge of what you're doing. Not just a telephone farmer, you don't know anything about the tomato or the basics.
But how much knowledge? Should I get a degree? Should I have a diploma? Should I have a certificate? Or let's look at it another way. Should I be able to... What should I know?
Well, you don't necessarily have to have a degree or a diploma in fruit farming to be a telephone farmer, but at least have basic knowledge. And you should at least understand the life cycle of, let's just say, of a tomato. Have maybe sit down with an agronomist, ensure that maybe they teach you more about, let's just say, the basic of the life cycle of a tomato, so that you'll be in a position to understand what stage is the crop at, what are the requirements in terms of the nutrients, what are the products to use for pest and disease, what to expect at this stage, so that you can drive as a telephone farmer.
So you, as a freelance agronomist, if you were to support me as a telephone farmer, and I was telling you I was growing, for example, gooseberries, which have, I think, a 4-month cycle, growth cycle, and then you harvest for another 6 months, or depending on how you tend the crop. What would be the frequency of our engagement during the span of that crop?
I'd say, let's just say, during the first few months, I'd say, as a telephone farmer, let's just say we put it in monthly basis. I'd say we should be in contact for like 2 times in a month.
Okay, so every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. And then you should have a very effective communication, whereby we are able to offer each other feedbacks. And you'll be open to ask and receive information from me. That way you're able to succeed as a telephone farmer. So
when I go back to that farm in Thika with 30 avocado trees, how long have they been in the operation?
It will be in production this year.
Oh, they're just starting?
Yes.
And you're already considering them a success, and they have not harvested?
It is a success, considering that, you see, when the tree starts to flower, I understand that for majority of fruit farmers, they normally experience flower abortion, where you have massive flower drop. So in our case, we have 90% success. I understand it's sometimes flower drop due to environmental issue, but then we had 90% success in flower retention. So it is a success, and at the moment they're at fruiting phase, and they didn't have also more fruit drop. We're going to get a quality harvest from that. So I consider that as a success.
Okay. Or at least a success in the making.
Yes, it is a success in making.
How about, do you have examples of other farms that have been successful? Maybe with other crops that you've seen people have had successive harvests that have been good?
Yes, I have a farmer in arid area, in very, very dry area of Taita. It's a 30-acre pixie orchard, and I consider that also as well as a success.
And how many years has that been in operation?
5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you do work with that farmer?
I do. I've been in communication. Sometimes I do travel to see and to have an expert to see what they're doing. And he normally calls to express his gratitude for working with me.
That's very good. You're also interested in innovation, in innovation in farming. Have you seen any innovations in agriculture that have excited you or have captured your interest?
Yes. One of the innovation that it's really interesting to see it thriving in Kenya, it's hydroponics.
Okay.
Where I've seen fruits farmers growing seeds in hydroponic way. You see in soilless media.
Yeah.
That way, you see, especially now when it comes to some fruit trees such as avocado, if you're able to grow it in soilless media, you're able now to avoid some diseases such as root rot. And for these other fruit trees such as passion fruits, if you're able now to eliminate now the soil-borne diseases in hydroponic method, I consider that a success.
Oh, so but is hydroponic organic?
Some bit it can be organic. Yeah.
Because we always wonder what is in the media or in the medium.
Well, partly organic, I'd say it's partly organic.
Okay. But it's a much more efficient or effective way of growing fruits and vegetables because of the elimination of, you said, soil-borne diseases.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. But then when implementation of it in Kenya, it's more of a challenge because let's just say you're growing fruit trees in large scale. Yeah. It requires capital and innovation and so many other things that in Kenya, only a few companies are able to offer that.
Can it be done at a small scale? I'm seeing a lot of people being lured into hydroponics in kitchen gardens and small scale. Is it still effective at a small scale?
It is effective for vegetables only because for the fruit trees in small scale, you require a lot of resources. They're just nutrient-based resources that a small-scale farmer cannot afford.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about crop health. You said that's something you're also interested in as a holistic orchardist.
Right.
Crop health and plant nutrition are very important. What is the first thing I should do as a farmer to ensure that my crop will be healthy, or my plant will be healthy and gets the right kind of nutrition?
Okay. For you to get quality, now the end goal is to get quality fruits or produce, is to get it right on soil first. So at first, I recommend that you do soil testing. I understand that for soil testing is a bit expensive, but then there are ways that you can get your soil tested at a very cheaper prices. So to get it right, you have to test for the nutrient status of the soil. And once you're able to get the results, you can be able now to, let's just say, correct the nutrients that are in reactionary levels. I'd say I've seen farmers, most of the soils that I've worked with, normally find that soils in different regions have maybe some nutrients being in reactionary levels from one region that can be corrected by the use of lime and products such as animal manure. And once you're able to correct that during planting, and then at subsequent growth stages, you're able now to come and implement the recommendation from soil report. You're able now to get quality produce.
And a good agronomist should be able to interpret any soil results.
Yes. For you now to ensure that you get it right at nutrients level, you have to get somebody who understands crop nutrition. Because I understand that good agronomists should be able to interpret the soil results, and some just do it in a not so good way. But then we have to get someone who really understands crop nutrition, so that instead of implementing all the recommendation at once, as well as most of the results you might recommend, you can be able to implement the recommendation in bits. Let's just say at planting, you do what's required for the plants to thrive, and then at subsequent stages, the implementation can be done much later.
Oh, so you can do them in phases, eh?
Yes.
Okay. So do you interpret? Is that part of what you do?
It's
interpreting soil results and then recommending what nutrition should be given to the plant?
Yes, I do that quite often, and I thrive at that also.
Why is it as farmers we just jump right in? Why don't we take the time to do things in an orderly manner? Like tomorrow, if I want to grow pawpaws, I'll look for a pawpaw buyer, get the seedlings and put it in. I won't care what is in the soil because I'm eager to get it done. Why do you think we have that kind of mindset?
I'd say most of the farmers, you see, everyone wants to get money, right? So you see, if some think that there's quick money in farming, without understanding that farmers needs to be patient, and you have to, everything takes time. So if you fail to understand that and put money in one basket, let's just say farming and expecting to get money in a short time, you end up facing the uncertainties.
Okay. So most of us, farming is a get-rich-quick scheme.
It's true.
Okay. What the big thing now in the world is climate change. And what kind of practices do you think we should do as farmers to mitigate these, carbon emissions and climate change? What are you doing as a holistic person in fruit farming?
Okay. I'd say if they're not able to implement, climate change being now the major thing, the only way to go about it is to plant trees, say fruit trees. And in areas that are totally don't have trees, you can introduce regenerative agriculture or also permaculture, whereby you grow crops or trees with different canopy size. So you see there you're able to create a microclimate or a forest sort of a climate in between rows of fruit trees and other trees. They're able to thrive very well.
Okay, and have you seen that being practiced here?
I have a farm that I'm doing that in Migori, and it's a really very nice farm that during the hot day, you can always go at the farm and sit at one of the terraces and enjoy life.
And they plant, you're part of the process of them planting the trees. They planted trees.
Yes.
Trees and fruit trees, or some of the trees included fruit trees?
You can include forestry trees and fruit trees as well. Okay. So you basically plant trees of different canopies, and let's just say in an umbrella way of doing this, or staircase way. There are higher trees. You can do now the agroforest trees. The lower trees, you do fruit trees that are of short canopy. Lower trees, when you go to now the lower staircase, you now do the vegetables and now the cover crops at the soil level.
So there's a method to how the trees should be grown, eh?
Yes.
Not just haphazardly. Okay. Let's talk about youth in agriculture. It's a big thing. We see a lot of money and initiatives trying to get youth to get into agriculture, and I don't think it's been very successful. What would you tell other youth or other young people? How would you sell agriculture to them? How can you make them see that agriculture can be a good thing?
Well, see, for you as a youth, we normally go to opportunity that that's opportunity that bring money. So in agriculture, there's money, and there's a lot of job opportunities in farming, provided that now you see we are in Kenya and we don't have more office jobs for the youths. But when you now come to embracing agriculture and you want to now get money, there's money in farming. I mean, you shouldn't choose job, but then there is good money in farming, provided that you're passionate about it.
So which jobs specifically would these youth be able to do in farming that they would find attractive? What job opportunities are there for them?
I'd say now, due to growing population, there is jobs in farming.
Tell me, Pauline, tell me the jobs.
The jobs such as growing vegetables, especially traditional vegetables. And now people are embracing hydroponics. You can also grow vegetables in that way. And yeah.
How about careers within agriculture for youth? Would you, I don't know what the makeup was when you were a student. Let's look at it from a gender perspective. In your class, how many women were there as opposed of the agronomists in your year when you graduated?
Okay, I'd say that we were less women than men when I was graduating.
Were you significantly less or just marginally less?
Significantly less.
And is that the trend?
Well, yes, it is a trend because I've checked with my colleagues and alumni, and it's quite saddening that I heard that nowadays, even in horticultural classes, you find that there are 7 students that are pursuing horticultural courses.
And before, how many were there?
There were many. We say that you can find in a class you are 100 plus, and nowadays it's less than 10.
Have you asked why?
Yes. And I tend to understand that it is because people are running away from farming because they want quick money, and quick money is in software and technological sort of jobs.
But can't we incorporate technology into farming?
Yes, we can incorporate that.
And how? How would you see technology playing a role in farming?
I say, well, in regards to now, you see now the use of GIS technology to monitor pest and diseases prevalence in the farm.
Okay.
Yes, you can
develop apps around that.
Yes.
How about things like even weather patterns? Would that help?
Yeah, to monitor weather pattern and also to predict weather patterns.
Yes,
and now you can also develop a cropping system based on the climatic pattern of an area. So, and I believe there's a job of putting. We can incorporate technology in agriculture, but now the issue is. You see, all that requires funds and resources that unfortunately government is not in support of agricultural.
Maybe when they hear what you've said, they will start supporting technology's role in agriculture. And you think that will be a good way for youth to get into agriculture? I mean, if there's a lot of technology or technology bias or application, you think it will attract youth into farming?
Yes, I believe it will. It will, and then also now at least maybe having sit down with the youth at family level, and now having to talk to them that, well, farming is the real thing, and then it's a real deal now. And years to come, people will be in need of food. So instead of going to technological farms and all that, we can now incorporate so that we can produce more food there for the incoming population.
What has inspired you? Is there a book you've read or a person you've met who has inspired you in your journey in farming as an agronomist?
Yes. There's this particular book by Neil Kinsley, Hands-on Agronomy.
Hands-on Agronomy.
Yes. And he offers insights on how to, the good agronomical practices that should be embraced so that in your journey of an agronomy, you can be able now to at least get the desired results, the targeted results that you're seeking.
Hands-on Agronomy
by Neil Kinsley.
Niels Kinsley. And can somebody who's a lay person or a telephone farmer like me read it and derive benefit from it?
Well, I'd say, as we mentioned earlier, you have to work with an agronomist first. You can go through that book with an agronomist if you don't have any agricultural background. So that you can be able to understand the technical terms and also the insights shared, that agronomical insights. They are shared in the book.
So it's a good book to work in conjunction with a specialist or an agronomist who understands the jargon and the intricacies of farming.
It is true.
If you had unlimited resources, Pauline, and I told you to choose a project in agriculture, in farming, what would you do?
I'd choose fruit farming.
How would you describe it to us? What would you do? Let's say you had unlimited funds and you had a 5-acre piece of land. What would you do with it?
With unlimited resources, I'd plan myself first and seek the right people to work with. And then once I have everything in place, I embark on working on the project.
So tell us who the right people are.
The right people should be the farm hands. I, being the agronomist, I also should seek and compare notes with other agronomists. So I won't work alone. And the stakeholders, such as now for the project to thrive, we also see if I'm working on an agricultural project, I should also have a market link for my project, not just to plant anything. So I should get it right in terms of at different levels, let's say farming level, farm manager level, technical team, the market. I should have everything in line.
Okay. You mentioned farm hands. You mentioned them again.
Yeah.
What kind of level of education should farm hands have, or exposure? What should they know?
Well, I'll say they can have basic knowledge. I'd say maybe high school level should be ideal. But then if you find a very hardworking farm hand who have primary level of education and is willing to learn, you can work with them provided that you have good communication and they can always be trained on by the agronomist.
Good. What do you see the future for yourself in this field of agronomy and agriculture? 5 years from now, if you have to look, what do you see?
In 5 years from now, I'll be having a holistic orchard, teaching other farmers how to do it right in terms now of impacting knowledge from my farm. I'll be having a demo farms, and I'm also looking forward to establishing a small daycare for the kids who are, you train them in regards to establishing a small nursery, having them to touch the soil and doing the basics on the
So we should
farm.
all understand farming from a practical perspective, get our hands dirty, feel the soil.
Yeah.
Okay. And we don't do enough of that, eh?
We do get to have hands-on experience. It's just that...
But in the urban areas in Pauline, in Nairobi, are you saying the urban children here who really understand texture of soil and how crops grow?
Oh, not really.
Yeah. And is that part of the things you'd like to see change?
Yes, part of what I like to see in future kids engaging in. That's why I see myself in 5 years to come having that sort of a setup where kids can come and learn how to grow say fruit trees, basic fruits such as strawberries, and for now the farmers, they'll be able to get hands-on agronomic lessons for them to grow their crops.
Pauline, I wish you every success in that journey.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing more of the holistic orchardist.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your experiences. And we are certain that you're going to succeed in what you aspire to want to be. In closing, how can somebody reach out to you? Are you on socials, or how does one get in touch with you? And we put all this on our website.
Okay. Thank you for... I am on social, especially TikTok. I post videos of my farming journey. I call myself Gasheri the Agronomist.
Gasheri the Agronomist on TikTok.
Yes, on TikTok.
And we'll see many of your videos there.
Yes, you'll see a couple of videos there. Okay. And they can reach out to me through you from the broadcast.
And you also have an email address which you'll share with us and I'll be able to put on the podcast?
Yes, okay. I'll share with you.
Okay. Yeah, and you're available there for agronomic support to telephone farmers and other farmers.
Yes, I'm available. I'm really passionate about farming and impacting farmers with the agronomical knowledge that's needed for their farms to thrive. And it's something that I really, really love, especially the agronomical work. And so once they reached out and we work with them, they'll be able to see the value of their money.
Thank you. There you have it, listeners and viewers. We've just had another very exciting episode come to an end in our discussions here with Pauline Njeri, the holistic orchardist. And Pauline is available to support anyone who's in farming through her agronomical work. And I highly recommend her. I have worked with her before on a passion fruit project that went very, very well. And we give a lot of credit to her in the support she lent us in our farm, Joel's farm in Athi River. So tune in next week or in the next couple of weeks when we'll have another exciting episode of the Accidental Farmer, a podcast that gives you the real dirt on farming.